You've been lied to about what this school is. So have the students. The difference is, you have 24 minutes to figure it out. They had an entire month. The Advanced Nurturing High School isn't an educational institution. It's a casino that hands you premium chips at the door, smiles, and waits for you to burn them all before explaining that your future is the collateral. The episode opens with a black screen and a quote from Friedrich Nietzsche. What is evil? Whatever springs from weakness. That isn't just window dressing. It's the operational blueprint of the entire system. We are looking at a weaponized meritocracy. The short version, a system where you only get what you earn and nobody cares where you started. If you're weak, you starve. If you're disciplined, you survive. Class D thought they had arrived in paradise. They were actually walking into a psychological execution chamber. Let me show you exactly how the trap was set. Quality is a story we tell children so they don't flip the board before the game begins. The Advanced Nurturing High School abandons that story immediately. They don't just ignore it. They actively weaponize it. Ayanokoji opens the series with a monologue dissecting a famous quote about heaven making all men equal. The real quote continues to say that effort creates the gap. Ayanokoji knows the truth. Equality is a fantasy. This brings us to the core philosophy driving the institution. We are looking at a pure application of master-slave morality. The short version, the idea that winners write the rules and call strength a virtue, while losers are crushed and invent a morality that praises weakness. The school operates entirely on the master's side. If you lack discipline, you aren't just foolish. You are defective. You are garbage. Your weakness is a sin. This isn't a normal educational facility. It is an extreme meritocracy. The short version, a system where human value is determined strictly by measurable performance and utility. You are worth exactly what you can produce, nothing more. Watch the opening bus scene. It is not a slice of life introduction. It is a moral sandbox. An old woman needs a seat. The responses map the ideological battlefield. You have Kushida, leaping up to ask for volunteers. She is practicing performative altruism. The short version, doing good deeds specifically to ensure an audience watches you do them. She doesn't care about the woman. She cares about accumulating social credit. She targets a high-status student to maximize her visibility. It fails, but the attempt is purely transactional. Then you have Koenji. He refuses to move, checking his nails. He operates on rational egoism. The short version, the belief that maximizing your own personal utility is the only logical way to live. Koenji decides his comfort outweighs social expectations. He opts out of the collective guilt trip. That takes a specific kind of coldness. Horikita also refuses to stand, but her reason is different. She acts on strict deontology. The short version, adhering to rigid personal principles regardless of the immediate consequences. She refuses to yield to mob pressure out of sheer pride. Ayanokoji observes this and silently concludes she is worse than him. He simply didn't care. She cared, but chose stubbornness. That detail is doing a lot of quiet work. The true villain of this ideological war is the school itself. Teacher Chabashiro walks in and feeds them the casino chips. 100,000 points. She tells them it is a laissez-faire environment. She omits the fatal condition. This is an exercise in pure utilitarianism. The short version, the philosophy that the ends justify the means, no matter who gets hurt along the way. The school deceives the students, allowing them to burn their resources, to teach a brutal lesson in self-governance. They sacrifice the entire D class in April to see who adapts in May. The school doesn't enforce the rules physically, they enforce them psychologically. This is a classic panopticon. The short version, a prison design where inmates behave because they might be watched at any moment, even if they can't see the guards. Ayanokoji spots the cameras in the convenience store. He understands immediately. They are always being graded. The freedom they were promised was just the bait. The school hands them 100,000 points to trigger a very specific psychological trap. They want to exploit present bias. The short version, the human tendency to overvalue immediate rewards and completely ignore long-term consequences. The students see the points as a universal basic income. They buy video games. They buy junk food. They sleep in class. The system doesn't stop them. It waits. Patience in an institution with full information is the cruelest weapon. They are given enough rope to hang themselves. The students think they are players in the casino. They are not. They are the chips being gambled by the system. And the house always wins. Look at the main gates of the Tokyo Metropolitan Advanced Nurturing High School. Cherry blossoms fall on cue. It looks like a utopia. It is actually a high-tech fortress. The architecture is cold, militaristic, and perfectly controlled. Then comes Sei Chabashira. She walks in with a lethargic posture, but a predator's eyes. She explains the system. 1 point equals 1 yen. You get 100,000 points on the first day. The school operates on a laissez-faire policy. Buy whatever you want. The students hear this and think they just received a universal basic income. The short version, an economic system where an institution gives you enough money to survive, simply for existing. No strings attached, no work required. The class cheers because they think their mere presence has value. They are dead wrong. Ayanokoji does the mental math immediately. 100,000 points, roughly 400 students. 3 grade levels. 12 months, that is 360 million yen a year. The math does not survive contact with reality. The school is employing severe information asymmetry. The short version, a transaction where one side has all the facts, and the other side is flying blind. The dealer knows the deck is stacked. The player thinks it is a game of luck. The school knows the points are a loan against future behavior. The students think the points are a gift. They are put into a massive Skinner box. The short version, an experimental cage used in behavioral psychology to study subjects. You give a rat a reward when it hits a button or a shock when it disobeys. It learns the rules through consequence. The initial point deposit is the first massive reward. It floods their brains with dopamine. It creates a false sense of absolute security. But the system has tells. You just have to know where to look. Ayanokoji wanders into the campus convenience store. He sees the electronics. He sees the junk food. Then, he stops at a very specific shelf. Free items, basic toiletries and stale bread that cost 0 points. Why would a school full of rich teenagers need free bread? Because the school expects them to go bankrupt. The free items are a safety net. They are the hard proof that failure is not just possible. It is anticipated. Ayanokoji spots the security cameras right after this. The school isn't ignoring their bad behavior. The school is quietly charging their accounts for it. During the month of April, Chabashira stands at the podium. She reads in a flat monotone. She watches Sudo sleep. She does not wake him. She watches Yamauchi talk. She does not silence him. She is utilizing operant conditioning. The short version, modifying someone's behavior by following their actions with strict, calculated consequences. Usually, a teacher corrects bad behavior immediately. Here, the delayed consequence is used to maximize the psychological shock on May 1st. And here is where the trap snaps shut. The evaluation is not individual. It is collective. The school engineers a tragedy of the commons. The short version, a situation where individuals use up a shared resource for their own benefit, ultimately destroying that resource for everyone. If one person pollutes the river, they get rich, but eventually, the river dies. Ken Sudo sleeps in class. Kanji Ike plays video games. They each take a little piece of the class score until nothing is left. By May 1st, the data is revealed. 98 tardies, 391 private conversations, 102 phone violations. The class value drops to 0. Their deposit is 0. The school doesn't punish laziness directly. It funds it. It watches it. Then it presents the bill. The casino gave them chips, watched them play terribly, and then locked the doors. Welcome to Class D. Watch the room, not the argument. Arguments are theater. The room is where the real information lives. Before Chabashira drops the guillotine on May 1st, the class had already sorted itself into a strict financial hierarchy. They just didn't know it. The casino gave them chips. How they spent them revealed exactly who they were. Let's look at Yosuke Hirata. He stands at the front of the room during introductions. He takes the initiative. He is the archetype of the popular guy. He operates on the halo effect. The short version, assuming that because someone is attractive and friendly, they are also competent and right. Hirata smiles, introduces himself with inclusive body language, and the class immediately delegates their collective anxiety to him. They trust him because he makes them comfortable. That is a dangerous metric for leadership in a survival scenario. He is a dictator who operates on kindness. Then we have Kikyo Kushida. She jumps into the introductions with overwhelming enthusiasm. She wants everyone's contact info. It looks like pure innocence. It is actually aggressive social engineering. Kushida suffers from communal narcissism. The short version, feeding your own ego by fiercely performing good deeds so everyone is forced to see you as the ultimate saint. She doesn't just want friends, she demands to be the central node of the class network. Look at her bank account at the end of the month. She has 54,705 points left. She burned nearly half her capital in 1 month. She wasn't buying snacks. She was buying social capital. She was purchasing obligations. But watch carefully. When Horikita sharply rejects her in the cafe, Kushida drops her smile. It is only for a fraction of a second. A micro-expression of cold fury. The bright mask slips, and the real player underneath breathes for a moment before smiling again. On the opposite end of the spectrum, we have Ken Sudo. He kicks his desk and interrupts the introductions. He operates entirely on hostile attribution bias. The short version, interpreting everyone else's neutral actions as deliberate personal attacks. Sudo thinks the mere act of introducing himself is a threat to his dominance. He refuses to participate in the social contract, and his bank account reflects his impulsivity. He ends the month with 3,115 points. He is a financial liability waiting to detonate. Kanji Ike and Haruki Yamauchi are even worse. Ike has 42 points. Yamauchi has 28. They are completely bankrupt. They fell perfectly into the hedonistic trap. They are the prey the casino was designed to consume. And finally, Rokusuke Koenji. He sits in the priority seat on the bus. He refuses to move for an old woman, using legalistic arguments to justify his absolute selfishness. He isolates himself completely. But unlike Sudo or Ike, Koenji's isolation is a choice made from power, not a lack of discipline. By the time May 1st arrives, the class isn't just defective. It is completely fractured. You have the bankrupt hedonists, you have the desperate aggressors, you have the social engineers. This isn't just a social hierarchy. It is an economic reality. The students who conserve their points now hold massive leverage over the bankrupt ones. The class was divided into predators, prey, and liabilities before the real game even started. And hiding in the margins, letting the chaos unfold, you have the observers. You are probably thinking this is just a standard school anime with a smart protagonist who happens to be a little socially awkward. That is the trap. That is exactly what the show wants you to think. Ayanokoji operates as an unreliable narrator. The short version, a storyteller whose perspective is compromised, forcing the audience to look past their words to figure out what is actually true. He gives us deep philosophical monologues about human equality, but his external actions are entirely passive and clumsy. He deliberately creates a massive gap between his perceived ability and his actual intelligence. Look at his class introduction. He stammers, hesitates, and claims he is not good at anything. He is practicing strategic incompetence. The short version, intentionally doing a terrible job at a basic task so people stop expecting things from you. By failing his introduction, he lowers everyone's expectations to zero. He is building a gray man persona. He wants to blend into the background completely. While the rest of the class is getting drunk on the casino's free chips, Ayanokoji is quietly counting the cards. When the teacher announces the 100,000 point allowance, he performs a rapid fiscal calculation. 100,000 points, multiplied by 400 students, across 3 grade levels, for 12 months. That is 360 million yen every single year. The math proves the system is unsustainable. The points cannot be a guaranteed gift. They must be conditional. To confirm this, he engages in environmental analysis. The short version, scanning a space not for what is there, but for what shouldn't be there, to understand the true rules of the location. He wanders the convenience store and finds the free items section, stale bread and basic toiletries that cost 0 points. He connects this anomaly with the security cameras he spots watching the students. The casino wants them to go broke, but it doesn't want them to starve to death. The free bread is the safety net for the bankrupt. Every decision he makes is governed by strict risk-benefit analysis. The short version, weighing the potential danger of an action against the reward and choosing the path with the highest payoff. When the old woman needs a seat on the bus, Ayanokoji stays seated. The risk of standing is drawing attention and breaking his camouflage. The benefit is nothing. He chooses invisibility, but that is not the interesting part. The real genius emerges when he moves from passive observation to active testing. Kushida approaches him, asking for help to befriend Horikita. Ayanokoji agrees, setting up a seemingly innocent meeting at a cafe. When Horikita figures out the trap almost immediately, Ayanokoji apologizes and admits defeat, but he did not lose. He utilized proxy warfare, the short version, using a third party to fight your battles or test your enemies, keeping your own hands completely clean. He used Kushida as the weapon and Horikita as the target. He wanted to know exactly how sharp Horikita's deductive skills were. When Horikita broke the trap, Ayanokoji collected the data and played the fool to maintain his harmless persona. The detail that changes everything is that his social defeat was a massive strategic victory. By the time May 1st arrives, his execution is flawless. While his classmates face total financial ruin, he has conserved 82,235 points. He gathered critical intelligence about the surveillance system without ever exposing his true capabilities. He mapped the psychological weaknesses of everyone around him. He is the only player in the casino who knows exactly where the exits are, and he did it all while pretending he didn't even know how to play the game. A failed manipulation is usually a disaster. Unless the failure was the actual plan, let's look at the cafe incident. Kushida wants to befriend Horikita. She uses Ayanokoji to set up a meeting. Ayanokoji agrees, baiting Horikita with a fake vulnerability. He claims he just isn't brave enough to go alone. Horikita arrives, sees Kushida, and instantly detects the setup. She calculates the probability of a coincidental meeting, realizes it is near zero, and leaves. Ayanokoji instantly apologizes and admits defeat. But here's where the genius is. Ayanokoji never intended for Kushida to succeed. He was running an environmental assessment operation. The short version, a quiet scouting mission designed to test the waters. You poke the system gently, just to see how hard it pushes back. He was measuring Horikita's deductive limits. He turned Kushida into an unwitting pawn. The short version, a chess piece that doesn't know it is on a board. You let someone think they are using you, while you actually use their momentum to strike your real target. Kushida thought Ayanokoji was her tool. In reality, Ayanokoji used her as a proxy to test Horikita's intelligence without exposing his own. When Horikita saw through the trap, Ayanokoji got exactly what he wanted. He confirmed she was a high-value asset who could not be easily manipulated. And by immediately surrendering, he maintained his completely harmless persona. He didn't risk a single chip of his own reputation. He didn't lose the game. He just wasn't playing the game Kushida thought they were playing. Jump forward to the 0-point reveal. Watch his face. His expression remains entirely flat while the room panics. He is exercising severe emotional suppression. The short version, pushing your natural feelings so deep down that they stop interfering with your ability to calculate survival. He doesn't lack feelings, he just locks them away behind a wall of perfect control. Flashback to the White Room, the experimental conditioning facility where he was raised. There, he was indoctrinated into strict instrumentalism. The short version, the belief that human beings have absolutely no inherent value and are only worth what they can be used to achieve. He views everyone purely as tools. Horikita is a high-value asset for testing the environment. Kushida is an unstable variable. Pseudo is a liability. Rewind to his awkward class introduction. That wasn't just a strategy. He struggles to understand basic social dynamics because the facility stripped away his ability to integrate normally. He wasn't built to make friends. To him, there are no friends or enemies at this casino. There are only useful tools and useless ones. If you have read the light novel, you already know where this heads. But look closely at what the anime chose to hide. The original text gave Ayanokoji a normal, socially eager internal voice. The anime adaptation cut that illusion entirely. They revealed the cold predator immediately. Let's execute a time jump. Fast forward past the upcoming exams. The bankrupt students of today become the desperate weapons of tomorrow. They will face absolute scarcity. The short version, an economic state where zero resources remain, forcing people to abandon all morals simply to survive. When the casino officially cuts them off, Pseudo and Ike will become volatile liabilities. Ayanokoji will have to manage them from the dark. He will operate as a kingmaker. The short version, a hidden power player who controls who wins and who loses, without ever claiming the throne himself. The anime deliberately rearranged scenes to keep Horikita in the spotlight. She is not just a lonely outcast. She is being actively groomed to serve as the public face for his private, rigged game. Class D spent the entire month of April thinking they were the players in the casino. They weren't. They were the chips. The school doesn't just want to see who is smart. It wants to enforce social Darwinism. The short version, the brutal ideology where only the strong survive and the weak are naturally eliminated, leaving no room for mercy. The institution handed out 100,000 points just to see who would eliminate themselves. And the terrifying part isn't that the class failed. It is that the system worked exactly as designed. They are sitting at 0 points. Their future is the collateral. The question you should be asking isn't how they get their points back. The question is, what kind of person you have to become when the only way to survive is to start cashing in the people sitting right next to you.